Hi all, so today we're going to be talking about the TRAC-5, the TR's default carbine, and it's pretty alright. As the weapon's description describes, it is a very adaptable weapon, and it kind of works no matter what way you'd like to build into. It is a fairly strong starter carbine. I wouldn't put it quite on the same tier as the Mercenary, but I'd say it's easily the second best out of the list, and it's good. It's just a comfortable, nice starter weapon with a couple drawbacks that prevent it from being really nice, but honestly, for a starter weapon, it does what you need it to do. So it's a 750 at 143 carbine, which is, fairly alright in terms of damage output, dropping to 112 with 490 velocity, a fairly long reload at 3.7 long, 2 effectively 6 short, but you get 40 rounds in the mag. Whether you prefer this larger magazine to the longer reload compared to a smaller magazine with a faster reload is largely going to be up to personal preference. Personally, I would rather have a smaller magazine and a faster reload, but the 40 rounds do come in handy every now and then. It's really going to show you what a lot of TR's like if you're a new player getting into the game. Hipfire accuracy is pretty okay, and aim accuracy is fairly good, actually, for the weapon type overall. So it's kind of a weird gun. There's two separate ways you can build it. So the way I run it, run a 1x no matter what. Any of the bigger scopes are just trolling. So on the barrel, you either run the flash up or the short barrel. If you're going to go for the hipfire build, you run short, otherwise go flash. In the rail, you either go grip if you're going to fully commit into aim down sights, or you run laser if you're going to fully commit to hipfire. I am not a hipfire player, although reputable sources tell me that the hipfire build is actually quite good. Whether you prefer hipfire or aim down sights is largely up to you. If you play it as a hipfire carbine, it works relatively well in close range. If you play it as an aim down sight carbine, it picks up out to medium range fairly effectively on the whole. It's just a well-rounded gun, and you can really tweak it your way if you want to. Between soft point or high velocity, I would just go soft point regardless of which way you're going to tune the gun. Unless you really, really value that extra 10% velocity. And you'll get, say, I think a bit more forehead shot range, but that is assuming you're quad pinging, which, if you're using the TRAC-5, you're probably a newer player or on a fresh character, and you're probably not quad pinging. So I would just go soft point on the whole. So, of course, as we do around here, live gameplay. We are on Emerald today because Connery is bad. And we are going straight to the crown. So hopefully we get a decent fight, because off-hours crown's not exactly that good for weapon reviews. But we'll do what we can. There's good odds that we'll be seeing, well, not will be seeing, but that's not a good sign. There's good odds that you'll be seeing a lot more TR weapon, I don't want my phone up, chair. That you'll be seeing a lot more TR weapon reviews in the near future, simply because Connery is so dead that I am just not getting to play my NSO character at all. So, there's going to be some TR reviews coming up, because I prefer playing TR to playing NC. Wow. We are not off to a good start, huh? We are really not off to a good start. Man, I wish they'd fix Crown and make it actually, fun to play at. Unfortunately, it's Crown. Okay, we 60 FPS up the wall. We're okay. We can actually play the game now. If I got dropped immediately, I would have been mad. So even if you don't go into hipfire build, hipfire actually is still workable. It's not amazing, but it's still fairly workable on the whole. That's kind of the way I would describe the TRAC-5 overall. It's a very workable carbine no matter what you're doing. There's a Spitfire there, so I'm not going to go that way, sadly. So even though it lacks, say, the long-range kicking power of a 167 carbine, and it doesn't quite have the rate of fire to compete with some of the other close-range carbines, on the whole, it is a very reliable option that kind of works no matter what situation you throw it at. And, as I said, the hipfire does work if you get pushed into a situation where you need to, so even if you're running an aim-down sight build, you still are able to work the hipfire. It's not obviously amazing, but you can make it work. Oh god, this is not a good fight. This is really not a good fight. It's still better than Connery, but I don't know how much actual live gameplay I'm gonna be able to get for you guys here. So I did mention at the start that there are a couple traits that really hold the TRAC-5 back. Number one, if you're using it as an aim down sight carbine, the muzzle velocity, while fairly solid at 490, is kind of low for what you would want for a long range carbine. It's not bad by any means, especially if you were to build into high velocity, but it's not a comfortable level of velocity. For a mid-range carbine, it is perfectly serviceable, but just know that you will feel this velocity if you try to push it into longer ranges. Number two, and the bigger one, especially for the aim down sight build, is the horizontal recoil. While the vertical recoil on the TRAC-5 is actually relatively low, the horizontal recoil is bad. It's fairly strong and there is randomization in it, so sometimes you can just kind of get screwed over by the recoil pattern. It's not, like, game-endingly bad. Obviously, if you take vertical grip, that does help it quite a bit. But it is worth noting that sometimes you will just get screwed over by random horizontal recoil, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Still, it's a good carbine. It really is a good carbine. I think, for comparison, I think it beats out the CB100 on NSO in terms of starters, and it definitely beats out the Salsas on Mono. It's just not quite as good as the Mercenary, because the problem with the TRAC-5 is that it is directly outclassed by another gun. If you are really, really into light assault, you should instead simply rush the Jaguar for 650 certs, because it has the exact same damage output as the TRAC-5, while it gains slightly better hipfire accuracy, 0.75 ADS speed, and, the big one, it has no bias in its recoil. Meaning it is extremely, extremely reliable even for aim down sights builds, despite being intended as a hipfire carbine. Ultimately, the TRAC-5, it's a good carbine, but it has very few advantages over the Jaguar. I believe the only advantages over the Jaguar are the velocity and one singular hipfire stat, and a slightly faster reload. Sorry, one single aim bloom stat, and that's your move aiming going to fire. Other than that, the Jaguar is just kind of better. So, while the TRAC-5 is good, it just kind of gets directly outclassed by Jaguar, unfortunately. Still, it's a very good weapon. It's a very good starter. I would highly, highly recommend it. Well, I mean, I can't really not recommend it because it's free. It's a starter weapon. But rather, I think it's absolutely worth putting the Araxium on, especially if you're going to go for track shot. For hopefully obvious reasons. And it's a good starter weapon. I do wish the horizontal recoil was a bit less random. I think that's what's really pulling this weapon down from, like, a really good state. But it's comfortable. I recommend it. So, use it. You don't really have much of a choice if you're a brand new player or if you're on a fresh character. So, if you're using the TRAC-5 anyway, bucko,